Welcome back to Maths Recovery with Rebecca. So today we are going to be looking at the real number system, and it's very important that we understand how to classify numbers. So they focus heavily on classification in grade 8, 9, 10, and then from grade 11 they just expect you to be able to classify numbers. Okay, so the main reason as to why you need to classify numbers in grade 11 is for nature of roots. So I'll be doing a video later on how that all fits in. Okay, so how this works is I'm going to throw a square root 2 at you and I'm going to ask you, is it rational? Is it irrational? Is it real? Is it maybe more than one classification? And if your brain freezes as soon as you see that, then you know this video is for you. I'm going to help you, let's just say, unbox it. And you'll see now why. Okay, there's our boxes. Okay, so the real number system is it's quite a nice little situation here because we've got a few things that fall within. So you've got, natural numbers, whole numbers, integers, rational and irrational numbers. There's a reason why these boxes are closed. They fall within real numbers. And then we'll look at the last two closed boxes and we'll decide where they are going to fall. Okay, so let's start with our open boxes. So what I've done is I have placed all of the boxes that were open inside of this box. Okay, and we're going to start pulling it out classification by classification. But what's going to happen is, remember when you stack boxes and you start pulling them out from each other, you pull out the smallest box first because that's the one that's within all the other boxes. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start from the smallest box, the classification that has the smallest amount of items. And that is natural numbers. So natural numbers are numbers from 1 to infinity, no fractions, no decimals. Here's some examples. So we got like number 1, number 10. There's no fractions, no decimals, just solid counting numbers. Then we're going to get whole numbers. Now the nice thing about whole numbers, you see there's this little 0 over here, kind of tells you that you are natural, but now we also are going to include 0. Okay, so if we look at our numbers now, I'm just going to add a 0. So this tells us that natural numbers fall within whole numbers. Our next classification is integers. Now, for me, the only way I can understand as to why they labeled it as Z is because when you say the word integers, it kind of sounds like a Z. So we're just going to go with that. I tried to do some research, didn't really get that far, but it's fine. Let's look. So negative infinity to positive infinity, still no fractions or decimals. So if we go and look at some numbers, we're just going to add a -4 to our list of numbers. And now we know that in integers, we have whole numbers and natural numbers. Let's look at our last classification here. We have rational numbers. So this is where you have your fractions, your ending decimals, and your recurring decimals. So let me just share some important information here. So who can think why? Why do we have that Q? What does this Q stand for? So if I look at what rational numbers include, so they include fractions. Let's go put a fraction there. Well, they include ending decimals because all fractions can be written as ending decimals. They include recurring decimals because recurring decimals can be written as fractions. So we will do that in a later video. How can this fraction also be written? It can be written like 1 divided by 2. And if I get another fraction, 3 over 4, that can also be written as 3 divided by 4. What is the name of this operation? So I know the operation is division, but the name, so this is a quotient. That is where that Q comes from. Okay, so that's just a nice little side information as we're going through everything. So the next thing is, I don't know if you remember those boxes that were closed. So let's see. The one box that was closed, the first one that was there, was irrational numbers. Now, the reason why I've closed it is because our number system looks like this. So we've got our natural numbers, and their natural numbers falls within whole numbers. Then we've got our integers, natural and whole fall within that. Then we've got our rational numbers. Everything falls within that. And then we have our real number system. So that's our real number system. The reason why this box is closed is because it still falls within the real number system. It just has its own little group. Okay, so it is not natural or whole or integer or rational. It is its own little group within the real number system. So how do we classify it? What does it look like? Well, let's think about this. The word irrational, for me, I don't know about you, it means like, let's just think about it. Like if somebody is talking, okay, if I say to you, you know, you're being irrational, it's just you're going on and on and on and on about something and it's just irritating me now and you need to be quiet. Like, is that you? Are you an irrational speaker? Now, let's think about that in number sense. For example, the number that I've got written here is pi, which is an irrational number. So what can we say? An irrational number are really long decimals. Okay, so the square root of 2 is a really long decimal. The square root of 5 is a really long decimal. And that is what irrational numbers are. Let's look at those other two closed boxes. So now we're going to close real numbers because it is done. So now we have non-real numbers. Now, obviously, these two, you can't be real and non-real at the same time. So that is why I've closed real numbers. It is done now. We've got all our classifications within there. Non-real numbers, let's look at that. Another name for them is imaginary numbers. I don't know if you've heard that term. But these are even roots that hold a negative on the inside. So for example, if I've got an even, so let's look at a square root, for example, and then let's do an 8. Okay, well, that's going to throw an error code on your calculator, non-real. Let's look at this one. That's actually an answer, but this is an odd root. So that would be true. So that's why it's important, because, I mean, like, look at this, -2 times -2 times -2. That is still a -8. So we can get things that happen like that. So I'm saying even roots, like the fourth root of a negative something, we say 10. The sixth root of a negative 25. This negative on the inside is what makes it non-real. Okay, so the other closed box was undefined numbers. So there's no symbol for this, which is fine, makes your life a bit easier. So these are division by 0. This throws another error code on your calculator, so just maybe you want to see what error codes they throw and learn it like that. It's fully up to you. But for me, I think it's very important that you learn what they actually look like, because when you hit grade 12, there's that last question in question 1 that kind of throws you. So you having a knowledge of all your concepts of maths and quite a nice deep knowledge and understanding is going to help you understand how to work out questions that are problem solving based. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, this is a table and I'm going to show you how to answer it. And then on the next slide is another table that you can pause and do it yourself, or you can pause and do this by yourself already. But I'm just going to classify everything on top here for myself. Okay, so this is natural. So that's going to be from 1 all the way to positive infinity. Whole from 0 to positive infinity. Integer, negative infinity to positive infinity. Rational numbers, so that's negative infinity all the way to positive infinity, and we're going to include fractions, decimals, but the ending ones, hey? Plus the recurring ones. Those are also in there. And then irrational, so I'm going to say really long decimals. And then real, which is everything that we've just done. And then non-real, which is going to be an even negative. And then undefined is just divided by 0. So these aren't going to be straightforward. Hey, you're going to have to physically go and work some of them out to try and get the answers, but that's fine. Okay, so the cube root of 64, that's 4. So that's natural, that's whole, that's integer, that's rational, and that's real. Great. Remember, the negative has to be on the inside for it to be non-real. So this is a -7. The negatives only start here by integers, rational, and real. So now this is what I meant by a little bit of simplifying. You can see pi as a variable, so those can just cancel, and that's what we got left. Fractions go all the way here to rational numbers and real. This is an ending decimal. I'll show you in the next slide what a non-ending decimal looks like, but this is an ending decimal. So we're going to go straight to rational and real. Here is your negative even root. So that's straight off just non-real. There's no way for us to get rid of this pi. That's going to be irrational and real. Here's your two recurring dots, rational and real. And then 0 divided by pi, this is 0. So it's going to be whole, integer, rational, and real. Okay, so mark yourself, see what you got. Hopefully you got it all correct. If not, go back to the video, watch, make notes, and study. Okay, let's go to the next one. Pause it, try it out yourself, or not. It's up to you. Put this in your calculator, you get a really long decimal. So that's irrational and real. This, we already worked this out. This was -2. So that's going to be integer, rational, and real. Yeah, this is that really long decimal. So that is irrational and real. This is a fraction, regardless if it's mixed or improper. So it's going to be rational and real. Divide by 0, undefined, regardless of what is up there. This just means I've got 2 square root 6's, which is just going to be a 6. So that's going to be natural, whole, integer, rational, and real. And the last one, the square root of 9, well, that's 3 times 3. So that's just 3. So natural, whole, integer, rational, and real. So hopefully you paused it so that you could do it yourself, and hopefully you got full marks. Let me know in the comments below. Be nice to know. And yeah, I will see you in our next video. And yeah, thanks for watching. Have a great day.